So I saw not Die Hard starring Dwayne Johnson as The Rock, and I was surprised at how okay it was because I'm a big fan of Die Hard. There's a lot of movies that are Die Hard, and this is kind of Die Hard, except it's in a building like the first Die Hard, so they went back to that. Except it's more like it's Die Hard in the Towering Inferno, which I haven't seen, but it's about a giant building that's on fire. And this movie was about a giant building that's on fire. And I think it has Nev Campbell in it. And then it has a bunch of people I didn't recognize. And it was okay. Uh, Dwayne The Rock Johnson plays a former hostage negotiator who has a hostage negotiation go wrong at the very, very beginning of the movie, like 10 years before the events of the movie happened. And in that instance, you see that he loses his leg. And that's all in the trailers, that he's got a prosthetic leg. I guess that's one of the hooks to the movie, is him running around trying to do Die Hard things in this building, except he's missing a leg. So whereas John McClane lost his shoes and couldn't step on glass, Dwayne The Rock Johnson can step on glass because he's got 1 foot. And he's got a shoe. He's got shoes. He's got 2 shoes still. He's got a shoe for his real foot, and he's got a shoe for his fake foot. So, like, he's got the glass floor covered. So, yeah, he's got to get in this building because, due to a series of unfortunate events, his family is in this building that he's doing security for. Like, he set up the security systems on the largest building skyscraper in the world. Skyscraper is a cool word. It's like, I wonder how tall the first skyscraper was. And they're like, oh my God, it scrapes the sky. And like nowadays, they've got to be like, some might be even be like a 10, 20 times higher than the original skyscrapers and stuff. Like in this movie, I think it was like 250 stories or something. Maybe I'm wrong. They just put some numbers next to some Chinese or some Asian characters on the screen, and during this weird news infographic at the beginning where they talk about how awesome this giant building is. But yeah, like giant skyscrapers, man, that they would be like, wow, that just goes right through the freaking sky. It's not just scraping it, it's penetrating it. Yeah. Skyscraper is a badass word for a building. Like, I can't think of any other examples of names of things in our everyday life that like are like so awesomely descriptive. So his family wanted to go see pandas, and they can't see the pandas, so they go back to their special hotel room in this giant building. And they're not supposed to be in the giant building at that time because they're supposed to be watching pandas. Also, the owner of the building is also in the building, but he's at the very top of the building. So the family's like on the 30th floor or something, and then the billionaire is at the very top of the building. And then while Dwayne The Rock Johnson is not in the building, some bad guys get into the building and they set the building on fire with Dwayne The Rock Johnson's family in it. Then Dwayne The Rock Johnson sees his family on the news, except he doesn't see his family. He sees that giant building he's supposed to be doing security for, and security and safety. And then all of a sudden, that giant building is on fire and decidedly unsafe. So he has to race across town while evading police capture for reasons because they kind of think he set the fire. There's an elaborate thing. It's, yeah. So he has to rush across town, and he has to. This is one part that's cool. It's completely different from Die Hard. Is in Die Hard, John McClane was stuck inside the building, and he wasn't supposed to be there. And even though his wife's in the building, and he's got to obviously save her, even though they're separated at the time, his whole attitude the whole time is that he doesn't want to be there. The Rock's attitude this whole time is, oh my God, I'm not supposed to be there, but I want to be there, and I've got to be there. And I want to be there so badly that I'm going to play Jungle Gym on a giant construction set so that I can somehow climb into a building and enter it on the 30th floor. So there's a lot of really good action scenes in this. Like, they do some pretty decent fight choreography. Uh, there's a fight scene at the beginning of the movie that I think's done really well. And there is some tension anytime that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is hanging or jumping from something, which happens a lot in this movie. They make this really kind of like tense scene where the whole audience is like, because he jumps up and he grabs a bar and then he starts doing monkey bars. And I was just thinking, like, I did that when I was like 5. I don't know if I can still do it now. I hope I can. I hope I'm not too fat. But like, monkey bars aren't that hard. I can't remember ever really falling from the monkey bars. They put them on playgrounds. Pulling yourself up when you're hanging from something, like all the way up on top of something, is a very heart pounding kind of experience. Sometimes it's a lot more difficult than they make it seem in movies. So that's always the tense part for me, when he's like actually like pulling himself up, and they make it seem a little too easy sometimes, where he's not really grabbed onto anything, and then all of a sudden like he hoists his leg up and stuff. I've had to break into my apartment a few times. I had to climb a balcony, and every single time, even though it's like only 15 feet off the ground, it was very tense and just like, get the foot up. So he gets in the building, and his family's all there, and so then, like 45 minutes in the movie, and this is kind of where I thought the movie was going to be the whole time. And then you see, guys with guns fight Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and stuff happens, and that's. I don't want to get too much more into the plot there. It's serviceable. They spent a lot of money on the movie, I think, or at least to a degree. I mean, it feels like they did. Look nice, like I said. As far as the other characters in the movie, besides The Rock playing The Rock like he does in all the movies that he's in now, where he's just basically The Rock, you've got Neve Campbell. I'm pretty sure it's Neve Campbell. If it's not Neve Campbell, I'm sorry, Neve Campbell. And if it's someone else, I'm not really sorry, because I don't know your name, and I would feel wrong to apologize to someone I don't know the name of. Well, I guess if I was apologizing for not knowing their name, I guess that is my bad. It was Neve Campbell. So she's got like the most interesting character in the movie, because she's got stuff to her. Because you've got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, you've got his buddy friend who worked security with him, or worked as a hostage saving person at the beginning of the movie, who now works for Chinese businessman. You've got Chinese businessman who's like this rich dude who wanted to make a really big building, and he does the right thing sometimes. So he's good. You've got Chinese, or it's in Hong Kong. Yeah, the movie's set in Hong Kong. And so you've got like the police officers in Hong Kong. There's like a man detective and a lady detective, and I don't know either of their names. You've got the bad terrorist man, who is like some guy from Scandinavia. And you've got The Rock's kids, who are twins, and one has asthma. So the movie's kind of like you can do anything in the world, even if you have a prosthetic leg, and you're also The Rock and can bench press like 350 pounds or whatever. Also, if you have asthma, you will totally be fine with your inhaler running through a smoky, burning building. But yeah, Neve Campbell. She she's interesting because she can speak a bunch of different languages, and she was like a military surgeon or something who did like a couple tours over in Afghanistan, the Middle East. And well, that's the most character given to any of the characters, and it still kind of boils down to a few sentences. Yeah, I would say that the point of the movie is to show that you can do anything if you are The Rock and if you have duct tape, and if you're a Chinese billionaire, you can build a really, really tall tower. And don't go try to see the pandas if there's also badass Asian chick who is on the ground, not in the building the whole movie. And I think she's there just to give the cops on the ground something to do. Because unlike Carl Winslow in Die Hard, where John McClane had the police officer on the ground to help get him through the situation. There are police on the ground for this situation, but they don't do anything at all. They don't try to get in the building. They just sit and watch this building burn. I don't even think you see any fire department people show up to try and put the fire out. I really don't know what's going on there. Like, it's this giant building. Everyone just crowded around watching it. They've all got their cell phones out, and they're just videotaping The Rock swinging around on the outside of it because their cameras are that good. They can see him that thousands and thousands of feet away, just up in the air, dangling. And like, oh yeah, we can see it. No. Yeah, but it was okay. Watch it on TV. You'll probably enjoy it. If I had to put it on a scale of Die Hard, I would give it a Die Hard. I would say it's a Die Hard 4. And that's really just a guess. I haven't seen Die Hard 4. I've seen parts of Die Hard 4. I think I saw like the end of it. Like there's this, and I may be thinking of a different movie where like he's in this like fan, and there's like this guy in the fan, and it's really cold in the fan, and I think he freezes the guy in the fan, and then the guy in the fan gets chopped up. Is that Die Hard 4?